Good morning, good evening. Welcome to this week's live stream. Some very well-timed gifs coming in. It's good to see you, live stream consultants, and Doug. It's good to see you as well. So I wanted to have a little chat about live streaming as creators. So there's a lot of, there's a bit of talk, right, about how live streaming and video creation are the same, or they're as simple as each other. And so, it's one of these things where I'm just checking my stream health. It's good on my end, Leanne. Sorry, might be your end, might not be. Who knows? The stream could die at any second. But anyway, so sometimes we hear this sort of confusion over live streaming versus video creation. So the reality is they're different and you can't really compare them. They serve different purposes. They have different reasons for creating them versus not creating them. Now, we'll start with live streaming. Live streaming is my pet project. It's something that I'm very passionate about. However, when it comes to discoverability and replay watching and things like that, it tends to be a little bit slower. So live streaming is fantastic for building audience, for building community, for building connection with people that are watching, that jump in, that hang out, that go and watch the replays, things like that. It's that instantaneous connection where you drop a comment in, I can see the comment, and I read it when I can. Whereas with a standalone video, the video goes up, you drop your comment in, but and depending on your process for replying to comments on your standalone videos, it could be a couple of days before somebody replies, if they reply at all. And there's not always the conversation between the different people viewing. Sometimes there is in comments areas, but on live streams, like right here, I'm seeing, people saying hello to each other as they're joining the chat, as they're jumping in. It's this instant, it builds my brain is so not on fire this morning. It builds a tight-knit group amongst not just myself and you, but you and the other viewers of the live stream. You guys are here. You join in each week. You come in, you ask your questions, you help each other, you talk to each other as well. So it's not all about me, it's about us as a whole. Okay? So live streaming has its own perks, its own benefits. It's just go live. Obviously there's some pre-preparation. There's your thumbnail you've got to make an enticing title, just like you do with a video. You need to have a topic that is something your audience wants to see, or might be curious about. So there is some planning involved. However, you hit go live and it can all change. It depends on how you run your live streams. If it's dependent on what the audience talk about, dependent what their questions is like. For this is a Q&A. So this is led by the questions in the chat. So I start out with a little conversational piece at the start, and then we go into the chat and we go backwards and forwards from there. Whereas some people with their live streams, it is very much like, it could be gameplay, it could be walkthroughs on software, it could be selling crystals. There's no limit to what you can be live streaming, whether it's live sales, live gaming, live conversation, live music, whatever it is, it's happening now. Okay, and that when it comes to live sales and things like that, that's an urgency thing, which also increases the sales, or can do, depending on what your product is and who your audience is. Now, when it comes to creating a video, there's less stress, less pressure, because it's okay if you muff it up. You can just go again and edit that bit out. When you're live streaming, not so much. So you've got this like a safety net of recording. You've got the ability to tweak things. So if we're not happy with the lighting, or we're not happy with the coloration, or whatever, we can tweak that when we've got a video. You can add, you can go, oh, you know what, that's standing there looking at just the face all the time is boring. Let's throw some B-roll in. You can do that. Now, you can do that with live streaming as well, but it's kind of like you've got to have it pre-prepared, lined up, know exactly what B-roll you want, and have it ready to insert. Whereas with a video, you can be like, oh, you know, I'm looking for some B-roll of this, and you can go through like the various sites for getting legal B-roll and find something that matches, or you can go and AI create some if that's what you want to do. So you've got like this less sort of time pressure thing. Now the advantages are with standalone videos rather than live streams. And I'm talking, when I say video, I mean a horizontal video, not a short. Okay, so I actually, when I speak, I differentiate between shorts and videos. Now, some stuff for videos works with shorts, but right now I'm talking videos specifically. So when you're creating your videos, they come up in search, they get recommended, they go through all those processes. You still have to make a title, a thumbnail, and a topic that your audience are interested in, catches their eye, and makes them want to click. So you definitely want to be going in and pre-researching, having everything sort of set up, whether it's a script or dot points or whatever. You want to have that available to you as well. It depends on your flow, personal flow. So you've got to sit down, but the advantages of it are, it's better for building and growing a channel, growing an audience. So live streams are better for building a community, whereas the videos are better for building the audience. So you don't see many people, I mean, and it does happen because gamers are real, right? Where you can totally build an audience live streaming. You can absolutely do it. But it is, in my opinion, which I just want to clarify, is my opinion, it is easier to grow a channel with video content than with live streaming content. And that's a very bitter pill for me. If you know me, you know how hard that is for me to say. It is easier to grow a channel with video content than it is with live streaming content. But they play together beautifully and they go hand in hand. And you can grow out a channel using videos and then live stream, and then you can have your live streaming audience and your video audience, because believe it or not, you know, like, sit down, but there are some people that don't like watching live streams. I mean, I don't know anyone that says that. No, there are people out there that actually vocally say, oh, I don't watch live streams. And then there are people who watch live streams that don't like watching replays. So if they don't catch the live stream live, they're not going to come in on the replay. So what your viewer says and what your viewer wants, they've got so much choice. If you're not looking at who your viewer is and making your content decisions based off that, then you are going to struggle. Okay, so I see this fairly often. People who have a channel, they made shorts. They started their channel out with shorts. Their shorts really popped off. They like got 1 million views on a short, ended up with a channel of like 100,000 subscribers based off like some series of shorts. But then they pivot away from that content, or they decide, okay, I've made shorts now, I've grown my audience, now I'm going to make long form content. And then their long form content is not getting the views, like not even remotely close. And so unless they were able to become monetized with however their shorts were doing, because their channel's not getting the long-term views, they're unable to monetize the channel, even though they have a crazy amount of subscribers. Now, the chances are they probably were able to monetize. If they've ended up with 100,000 subscribers, there's a possibility they were able to monetize. And I know that sounds bizarre that we're not making the assumption that they could, but monetization on YouTube with YouTube Shorts is a little, you've got to get 10 million views in 3 months. So it's big. It's a big ask. So, you know, if you made one video that popped off and it got 11 or 15 million views, no, not, Yeah, but over the life of the video, sorry, I've got to finish out the analogy. And only, 7 million of those views came in within that 3 month window, then unless you have other content, you haven't hit the mark. So when it comes to your audience, you need to understand what they want. So when you've been creating these shorts and then you go into long form, and the audience that you have built, that you have created, that you have nurtured with all these shorts that you've made, so that's the under 3 minute vertical content. So you've made all these shorts, but you've decided you want to pivot into long form and move away from shorts. And then your long forms are getting 50 views and you're like, I don't understand, why aren't my subscribers watching? Your subscribers were never there for long form video. They were there for those shorts. You have an audience that is a swiping audience. You have an audience that just watches bits and pieces here and there. And so not catering to that audience that you've grown, they're going to like stop watching. And now YouTube are coming out and saying that they are adjusting the subscription feed on our channel, like on our home pages. So as viewers, our subscription feed, so that if you don't watch videos within if you skip videos from channels that you subscribe to, they will start showing them less and less in your subscription feed, which to me I loved, because it was just a chronological dump of whenever someone uploaded. It was just in order of when they uploaded. I want that. Thank you very much. And so that's changing. So if you are trying to pivot away from the audience that you built because you don't understand your audience, you don't have that connection to your audience yet, that they're willing to go from a 15-second or 30-second funny into like a longer form about something else, you haven't learnt who your audience is. And if there's one thing we need to understand on YouTube, is that you need to know who your audience is. You need to know who you're making content for. If you're making content for yourself, there's a good chance that you may not do you may not get the expected results. You need to learn who it is you're making your content for and cater to them. It's very difficult to make people jump platforms, content styles. So if you are someone who makes VOD content all the time, so that's your videos that are horizontal, long form. If you make videos all of the time and then all of a sudden drop in a live stream and then you've got like 50,000 subscribers and 7 people turn up to your live stream, it's because your audience aren't used to you live streaming. They're there for this other kind of content. They may grow to want to start watching live streams. So if you continue to do live streams fairly regularly, that should possibly grow. However, if you just jump in every 3, 6, 12 months with a live stream and expect your whole audience to watch, you're going to be disappointed. So you need to understand who your audience is. You need to understand the kind of content that they want, the platform that they want it on, whether it's shorts, longs, or lives. Then you have to make your content making decisions based around that. Now, if you don't like the kind of audience that you are cultivating, you need to just take the L and move forward with the content you want to make. But you need to understand that it's going to be like starting again, because you built an audience for this, except you want to give them this. This audience may not want that. So you need to grow a new audience over here. And that's not to say you can't have both shorts and long form videos and live streams on your channel, all three. It doesn't mean you can't have these. You can absolutely do it. If you've got the schedule for it, you can absolutely be ticking all of the boxes. But when you're getting started out, when you're working around different commitments, whether it's family, job, education, whatever, you've got limited hours in the day. And if you're a one-man band, like a lot of us are, you may not have the bandwidth. Now, there's some fantastic tools that help with this. If you want to live stream and you want to chop that down into some short form content, you can use Opus Clip to drop that down. But the other thing you can use Opus Clip for, which I don't see a lot of people doing, is you can actually clip out content that is horizontal. So say I'm doing this live stream and I have like a 4-minute piece that's fantastic, that absolutely deserves to be a standalone video. I can actually do that within Opus Clip as well. So you don't have to put the captions up if you don't want. You can actually just trim out the video that you want. Or you could download your live stream and then drop it into whatever editing software and cut it and clip it manually if that's also what you want to do. So you've got these things. These tools are available to us to try and make it a bit easier to help us along. But at the end of the day, you have to know your audience. The tools aren't going to know the audience that you want to build. So they only know the audience that you have right now. And if that's not the audience that you want, you have to make the decisions and you have to make the content for that other audience, understanding what it is they watch, what it is that they like to see, they like to do, and something that you like to make content on. There's got to be a crossover or you're just not going to keep going. Anyway, I'm going to jump into the chat for a second because there's chat going on and I want to have a look. Doug's in here saying both content types have pros and cons. Absolutely, they do. They do. Live stream equals broadcast by the seat of your pants. Yes, it does. And I'm feeling particularly seats of the pants-ish today because my internet failed again yesterday and I had to get the NBN guy out again and he had to replace some more things. So that was fun. So, you know, everything seems to be okay. The speed test was good. I'm hoping. Let's have a look here. Lots of conversation between everybody else. And I'm guessing by the no and the shocking, that's when I was talking about there's actually people who don't want to watch live streams. Who was clutching my pearls? What creation would not want to watch a live stream? Sacrilege. Yes, I agree with you there, but not everybody does. And I've had conversations with people around my yarn crafting channel where, you know, where it makes it like, they actually say, oh, what, I don't watch your live streams ever. And you haven't been making other content, so I haven't been watching your channel. I was just like, oh, really? Okay, cool. Good to know. Time to get out the shock collars and get those subs to grow when you're live. Set it on 11. Yeah, I don't know if that'll work. Opus Clip just seems to stretch and crop horizontal video in really awkward ways. Really? I've not had an issue with it. I've made some content for my Fiberific channel that I've cut out of live streams, and I haven't had an issue with dropping in my links to a live stream and getting it to what I tend to do. And I'm a cheapskate, okay, so I don't want to use up all my Opus Clip minutes. And B, if I've got an idea of where I want it, I trim it right down to like a section and go from there. So yeah, it could be, I don't know. I'll have to have a look. It's been a hot minute since I've used it, I'll be honest. So if maybe it's changed again, because like everything else, like I'm watching YouTube here. Let me know in the chat if your pinned comments are at the bottom now. I hate it. I hate it being at the bottom. It's in the way of, like, I keep clicking it when I'm trying to moderate. And so I hate it being at the bottom. So now I just dismiss all the pinned comments because they are in my way. But you let me know, except I can't do it when it's my stream because that'll unpin the comment. So I'm on Arc browser, and I was on Chrome for Nick's stream on Saturday night, and it did it on Chrome, and it's doing it in Arc. So it might be a user thing. Like, so for my account, it's doing it, and it's very annoying. I don't like it. But as we know, YouTube go through and they're constantly testing different things out in the user interface. Like there's always something being tweaked and changed. And I sort of notice it when I'm switching between accounts, and I'll be like, oh, why have they got that? And it's not until, you know, something really obvious like the pinned comment being down the bottom is really annoying. Did you hold your band hammer over the internet guy? I did not. I just let him work. I did chat with him a bit. I'm a bit of a chatty person. And I also like to understand what's happened, especially when it comes to my internet. I like to know if there's something I did and so that I can make sure that doesn't happen again. Nothing I did. So it's just been a janky, horrible thing. So hopefully we're all good now because it seems to be great. John says, candidly, I've never used Operclips, but I've seen some people do some very weird things with it. I agree with you. There are definitely some interesting options out there that there's interesting decisions that people have made with their content, and maybe it'll work for their audience. I don't know. I don't know who their audience is. It might be a user issue. Absolutely. Doug says it's on the top of Chrome today. Livestream Consultant says it's at the bottom for him. And he saw it on mobile the last few weeks at the bottom. Yeah, I think it's in the way at the bottom, personally. Yeah. And it might be like I just need time to adjust. And if they decide to keep it there because other people love it, whatever reasons, but I personally find that it's intrusive. And I don't like it when things are intrusive on my live chat. So, but yeah, so let me know in the chat, like, where is the predominance of your audience? Like when you're making your content, is it predominantly live stream? Is it replays? Is it videos? Is it shorts? Let me know in the chat. John's asking, is the pinned comment the BMAC link? Yes, it is. It is the BMAC link. Yeah. But yeah, so I'm gonna have a sip of my coffee. Me too, John. I find it quite annoying. I'm not offended if you dismiss the link to get it out of your way. No problems at all. But yeah, so it's definitely an interesting choice. And I wonder why they decided to do it. It's been at the top for so long. But maybe somebody said something. Maybe maybe it's more likely to be clicked on if it fits at the bottom. I don't know. I'd love to know the reasonings for it. Feedback for YouTube mod should revert to top of chat automatically and live chat automatically. I quite often have, like, when at the top of the live stream where you can click the words that say top chat and drop it down to live chat, I would like for it to be default at live chat. I want to see every comment, not just, like, admittedly for my streams, I do see every comment, but when I like to see it in the order that they come in, I like to, anyway, as a personal preference, I would like to see live chat, or maybe have the option to choose which one you see as a default, because maybe there's plenty of people who love having the top chat. I don't know. Oh, it is May the 4th. It is absolutely May the 4th. Many years ago, I made a graphic. Do I still have it? No, I think I went and cleaned out all the old graphics. I did make a May the 4th graphic. Oh, Doug, wouldn't that be amazing? Doug says, I want live, top, fan funding, and mod chat options. Absolutely. I want that. I want those options also. And if they can do a fan funding, well, I suppose the fan funding's still just a portion of the existing live chat, isn't it? So, but I want that. Is not yet, you bunch of time travelers. Yes, we are in the future, and in the future it is May the 4th. Now, what's hilarious is I say 4th of May, so it doesn't really work. So, but yeah, so May the 4th. I will say May the 4th today. Tomorrow will be 5th of May. Okay, so back to normal date order. I tell you something, working with a lot of people from the US, when I'm putting documents together and having to put the date in wrong so that it's not wrong for them. And I'm just like, oh, and I sort of have to, I actually do something now where it's totally different. I actually put like the option where it's like for MA, like for FEB 2026. I do it so you can see the written words of the month, because otherwise I just get so confused, especially like say we're looking at the 4th of May. So for me, it would be 4/5/26, but that's the 5th of April for Americans. So, and I think is there 2 other countries? There's two other, well, they're micro countries, but there's only three places, two or three places in the world that do dates like that. So, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I do like the date and then the text of the month. So like FEB or MAR or JAN or whatever, like the text of the month and then the year. Um, oh no, Doug has to default to the US now. It's been that long. Oh, look, and I think my brain's starting to do it as I chat more and more and create more documents for uh for the American audience or the American co-workers. So yeah, it's definitely I'm trying to adjust. I really am. I'm trying to adjust. Um the only way to America, the only way to do this thing, also we're the only country that does it like this for some reason. Yeah, and I think Fahrenheit is another one where America is maybe not the only country using it, but only a couple of countries use it. Everybody else has moved over to no, imperial. So America still uses imperial measurements, whereas most of the other world have moved on to metric. That's what it is. That's what it is. Do you know what? I keep thinking someone's dropping the buy me a coffee link because when the chat moves, it's like, anyway, my brain's just like, oh, who's dropped that? Oh, they haven't. It's the pinned comment. It's so distracting. Doug says, yeah, been doing it for 27 years at this point. Yeah, I would hope that you've adjusted. I've only been doing it for 2. And for the first year of that, I didn't really do anything with dates. So, yeah. Y'all are being weird. Go back to using freedom units. No, I call them imperial units because that's what they are. And I'm not with the Imperials. I am absolutely rebel. Drive on the correct side of the road. Now that is actually something that's a bit more divided. The which side of the road we're driving on. That one's a bit more divided. There's a lot more countries I think that drive on the right than the left, I think is how it works out. So I think we're a little odd in that situation. I don't know exactly the breakdown. Does anyone know the breakdown? Let me know in the chat if you know the breakdown of countries that drive on the left versus drive on the right. I think you'll find we're being weird. Look, if you're not expecting weird, you might be in the wrong place. I'm just saying, you just might be in the wrong place. Yeah. Just imagine, if the European Union managed to convince everyone in the world to do the same stuff in the way they got Apple to do USB-C. Ugh. They're also now trying to get Apple to have, like, all mobile phones need to have removable batteries so they can be easily replaced. So basically Apple's the target there because as far as I'm aware, well, the last time I bought a Samsung phone, I could flip the battery out. So, I mean, that just says how long it's been since I had a Samsung phone. I don't know. But yeah, that's their latest thing now, is being able to make it so you can just replace the batteries easily. Yeah, weird is our jam. That's right, Leanne. Weird is our jam. I'm a bit of a strange ranger and I tend to attract other strange rangers. Welcome. You are welcome here, strange rangers. So yeah, so you know, it's one of these things where, and this is the thing. I know who my audience is. Specifically my live streaming audience. I know who my video audience are. Maybe less strange rangerish than the rest of us, because my videos tend to be a little bit more broadly targeted for any YouTube creators. So I tend to, you know, like the managing moderator, that's specifically for people who utilize live streaming, but not just live streaming, because as we all know, if you make someone a moderator, it doesn't just affect what they can do in a live stream, it affects what they can do in all comment areas. And managing moderators is the same. So while people assume that the moderators can only make changes in live streams, that is unfortunately not the case. They are not live stream moderators. They are channel moderators. So they can go into the comments area of like, so it could be in the replay. So they could go into that comment area. Now they have less abilities, so you can't time someone out, but you can absolutely delete the comment or boot the person for sure. And managing moderators can go into, it can go into the comment area of a video and then add people as moderators from there. It is the weirdest thing. Like you can't, actually, can you do it in a live stream? I don't know if you can. You couldn't, but I haven't looked lately. Doug's a managing moderator here. Doug, when you click on somebody, can you make them a moderator in the live stream? Because I know you can in a video. So if you jump to one of the videos on my channel and found someone who had commented, you could click that person and you could add them as a standard moderator if that is what you wanted to do. Please don't, Doug. I know you won't, but please don't. According to ye old Google, approximately 2/3 of the world drive on the right side of the road, mostly former British colonies like Australia drive on the left. Yeah, that's what I thought. And I knew that one was a little, like, was more even than like one country does it and no one else. But yeah, it's definitely a bit interesting. Plum, raspberry or something. It's apricot. I'm sorry, it's apricot jam. Like apricot first, then plum, then then marmalade. Is marmalade a jam? Oh, look, I consider marmalade a jam. Like, I don't know, like, let me know, is marmalade a jam or is marmalade just marmalade? Technically, you make it the same way as you make other jam. I'm just saying, because I've made it. Okay, so Doug's had a quick double check. Thank you, Doug. I appreciate you for doing that. But no, managing moderators cannot make other moderators within a live stream, but they can go to a video on your channel, find a comment, and make that person a moderator. And it is the weirdest thing. Like, is it a glitch? I sent the question through to YouTube. I waited patiently. Nobody really got back to me with an answer. So it's out there. You can do it. So, and this is one of the reasons why I have serious concerns about those people that just mod everybody up in their live chat as like a reward for coming and being in their live stream. Like, oh, I'm sorry. Let's give them the keys to your channel. Because that's what you're doing. Every time you make someone a moderator, you have to understand the full power of the tools that you are giving them. So if you like, I would say 90% of people that you give tools to as a moderator, perfectly fine, no issues. If you get one person who you make a moderator on your channel and they are not happy campers for whatever reason, they can go into your other videos and just remove people. So, and because they're doing it in a non-line video, you can't see it. There's no log of what they're up to. You just notice that people aren't, commenting anymore, or they're not. Someone who may have commented all the time all of a sudden has stopped. And it could be because they've stopped watching the channel, but it could be because a rogue moderator, I'm in one of your other videos and I can't mod anybody in the chat. Or they closed a loophole. So are you saying you're in one of my other videos and you've clicked on a person's comment with the 3-dot menu there and one of your options is not to moderate them? Is that right? Because it was. I would absolutely say it's for the best. I would absolutely say that if they got rid of that, that is absolutely for the best, because that was a weird thing to be able to do. If they're not going to let managing moderators mod people up in a live stream, why on earth did they make it possible to do it in the chat? They can wreak havoc and you won't even know it. Well, and this is the thing, even a standard moderator or managing moderator can go into your other content and remove the comments and remove and boot the viewer. So, it is, understand the tools that you're giving people access to. It's one of the weirdest things, actually, like with my day job, right? As I get given access to something and that, like, to do a particular task, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. You can remove that access now. Because I don't want permanent access to things that I don't need. Like, if it's a daily task or a regular task that I need to do, fine, leave the access there. It's part of my job now. But if it was just a once-off thing, I don't want the access anymore. I don't want there to ever be a case one day where something bad happened and they go through all the logs and go, oh, well, such and such has still got access. Maybe she did it. And you're just like, I never touched it after this thing, but you've got no way to prove it because quite often there's no logs in place for a lot of these different softwares to show who did what at what time. Now, some do, but YouTube doesn't. So if you have team in your YouTube, so say you've got editors and you've got channel manager and you've got all, you know, different people doing different tasks on your channel, and something happens, you can't see which logged in account did the action. And I think that's a little bit weird. Let me know in the chat. Do you find that to be a weird thing if you're a person who has implemented like teams and you've got more people? Do you think that is an unusual non-solution? So basically, you've got like 6 people who've got access to the channel, and you're like, was it you? Nope. Was it you? Nope. And you can't tell who did something. It's very stressful. Because the other thing is my personality automatically makes it out that it's going to be my fault and I'm going to get fired. Whether I did it or not, whether I have anything to do with it whatsoever or not, it doesn't matter. It was obviously my fault and therefore I'm going to get fired. So, you know, it's one of these things, you know, and there's no reason for me to think that, all right? No reason whatsoever. But that's where we go. And that's where I've always gone for the last 30 odd years. Oh, that broke. Okay, well, that somehow it's going to end up being my fault for whatever reason. I wasn't even in the building at the time. However, and luckily most buildings that I've worked in have had security passes, so you've been able to prove that you weren't in the building. So, yeah. Oh, hello, Walter. It's great to see you. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. I'm sure that you have got other things going on in your world that aren't a live stream. But if you've got any questions, please drop them in. We've been discussing the advantages of the different forms of content, but long form versus shorts versus live streams, and how you need to understand who your audience is to create the content that they will watch. And you can't always make them watch the content you want to make, hence my live streaming channel. I want to live stream, and not everybody who watches my other videos. Like, I've got a video there with, I don't know, how many views has my moderator video got? Not like 20,000 views on it. They don't come in and watch the live streams. So, you know. Chantelle's just ranting on moderator things. It's a happy place. It is kind of, yeah. Walter got to check out some of Doug's stream. That's awesome. That's so good. Doug's stream was just so full of information this week. I'm like, man, I really need to make more graphics. I do. I need to make more graphics. I tend to find, like, when I'm having a conversation with somebody, oh, okay, is my managing moderator video up to 38K now? Well, they're not coming in and watching this video, and it's because not everybody enjoys live streams. And it's that simple. They want that bite-sized piece of content. I think that's only like maybe a 4-minute, 5-minute long video. Bite-sized piece of content gives them their information. Now, if you're making content that's storytelling content, you need to be making 40-minute, 1-hour episodes for the lean back on television. But if you're an educator, you need to make the bite-sized piece of content that teaches the person the thing that they need to learn so they can get on and do it. So, yeah. Are you going live at 8? Good luck with your live stream. I hope it goes really, really well. Yeah, I see it. I see your comments about the book and the course. I think Abby's home. I really hope it's Abby, because there's someone coming in my house. Abby, is that you? Oh yeah, it's Abby. Abby's home. Phew. I'm thinking, I could have sworn I locked all the doors and Louis didn't bark. Just a small heart attack. Oh my gosh, yes. Get me the shock collars. Yeah. No delivery. Yeah, our delivery guys don't just walk in the house. They don't not they knock on the door or just toot their horns.
I went in my pajamas. Come on, look.
Oh my gosh. But yes, it's where's Andrew K when you need him? Andrew sent me a message. It's like, hey, how's that mod course going? And he set a poll up on his channel about whether or not Chantelle should do a mod course, yes or yes of course. And he's getting some votes on it. So yeah. Anyway. Hopefully in the next few weeks I'll have a bit of time to sit down and work out where I got up to, because it got put aside. I got to work out where I got up to, go through that, and then work out where I want to go from there. Abby's not going to come on this live stream, no. But I'll let her know that you've all said hi to her. She says hi back. I don't know if you can hear her, but yeah. Doug voted on Andrew's. Yeah, look, you know, I'm going to be really honest, like, and you guys know me here, like, I don't faff around. Well, I mean, I totally faff around, but when it comes to honesty, I don't. I keep coming up against this wall when it comes to the moderator course, and the book, and and I know I just need to push through it. I understand that, but it's just this wall of why would anybody want me, like, why would I put in all this work, because no one's going to want it. No one's going to, like, who am I to do this kind of thing? And I know it's just a mental game. I really do. I understand that. And I know that, I've got some skills when it comes to moderating. I get that. And I've got some experience as well. So, you know, all these positives and I get that. But I do come across this wall every now and again. It's usually when I'm sitting down going through what I've got, and it's just, and then I sort of put it aside and focus on some work or something like that instead, something that I can control and something that I can, you know, something that I can just focus on instead. And it's hard because I know that everybody has that, and then people still do the thing, but I find it very hard to push through it. Doug says, you've modded live streams with thousands in the chat. You have the cred. I feel like I do, but like, just because I feel like I do, my brain's like, well, what does it matter? Because my brain is mean to me. Okay. Like I've had this conversation with the Fiberific chat before in the past, where it's like, I have, like, you know, the running monologue, like I know I have worked out, since not everybody does, which shocked me because I thought everybody did. But the running monologue in my head is a little bit mean for the most part. Because we say so. Now get to it, you slacker. Don't make me get out my Ali Ermi. I don't know what that means. Ali Ermi. I don't know. Yeah, and that's the thing. I have to take the leap. And you know what? I can hear my friend Justin Brown's voice in my head, and he's like, and what happens if it does succeed? Like, what would it look like if it did succeed? You know, and I can hear his voice in my head, just trying to be very encouraging at the same time as going, oh my God, why haven't you already done this yet? And I think Andrew Cairns' voices, they're competing now. So, but yeah, so I understand the yeah, it's kind of like this battle. Like I really do understand that I just need to do it, and that it needs to be done, and that I do have the ability and I do have the credibility. I do understand that, but then there's also this is oh, he's the drill sergeant. Yes, drill sergeant. Okay, all right. That's, funnily enough, that's my daughter says yes, drill sergeant, when I ask her to do things. She's just yelled at Sergeant Shani. But yeah, top load your credentials. Yeah, and I think that's the thing, because is it an Australian thing? I don't know. And it might be where I find it very difficult to do exactly that, top load the credentials. Like I've done this and I've done this and I've done this and I moderate regularly for this and like these things. And it's to me it's like I'm just going to stand here and toot my own horn for a bit about why you should listen to me. and 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 that's kind of where I'm stuck. So anyway, I'll get there and I'll get through it and it's going to happen. And sooner rather than later. I haven't so much set a date yet in my brain, and that's something I want to do. But first I need to go through and work out exactly where I'm up to, and I need to focus on one. So at the moment I'm a little split focus between the book and the course, both of which I've never done. Like I've never written a course in that regard. Like I've put together classes but I've never written a course, and I've also never written a book. So so my brain's like, oh my god, it's so big, and I just need to chop them down into bite-sized pieces and just get going. So that's my mental blockage for those sorts of things that's happening. But I am also creeping forward as well. So I'm not just sitting on my hands. I'm slowly creeping forward. Yeah, Doug says I'm not one for tooting my own horn, and I really think it might be an Australian thing, Doug, because I don't know if everyone, like, there's a few Australians in the chat. In Australia, we have this thing called tall poppy syndrome, where if somebody acts like that they're more superior than you, you're going to do everything in your power to cut them down to size. I personally didn't really do it that much, but I've worked with people who plenty did. And so, oh, do I wear that? No, good. And so, you always keep your head low and just got the work done. And that's sort of where I've always been. Just keep your head down, do the work. So even coming onto YouTube was a stretch for me. Again, Widows is in the house. Great to see you here, Emma. So yeah, so just understanding who we're creating for is the biggest and the hardest part, because quite a few people think we are creating for a version of ourselves, right? And to a degree you might be. If you're like for me on the Fiberific channel, my target audience are usually women in their 40s to 70s who are crafters, who like yarn, and who like a good joke, right? So, and I'm in there. That I fit that mold. But I happen to fit that mold, if that makes any sense. So, it's one of these things. I just happen to fit the mold. Whereas on this channel, it's a bit different. It's people who have who either already are YouTubers or are people who are wanting to live stream and trying to get over the mental hurdles. And I understand mental hurdles so hard, I really do, and how much they can be debilitating to push through. I really understand that as well. There's this safe space of not pushing through, of not putting yourself out there and not doing the live stream. And that's to me, I find live streams to be my safe space, because I'm the queen of this domain, or the princess, as the case may be. This is my domain, and I'm in charge. And I've got Doug in here and Leanne who are moderating the chat to make sure that I don't have trolls in here running rife. We have other people who are enjoying the content. I thank you. I saw a message pop up, so I'll check that. I'll check that after the stream. Live stream consultants. But yeah, so it's different. Like, different people have got like different mental barriers for things. And I do understand how debilitating some mental barriers can be. So she says, having wanted to, do this course now for some time, I don't even want to think. It's been a while. It's been a while. I keep thinking about it and I keep thinking about it, and then I start doing like a map, and then I kind of step back because I'm like, this is bigger than I want it to be, So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, make it so. Yeah, it's a bit like that. But yeah, I definitely understand the mental barriers between getting yourself out there and doing things. And I also know exactly what it feels like when you don't push through the mental barrier and you stay in the safe place and you feel like you're spinning your wheels. And then I also understand what it feels like when you push through those mental barriers and you do the scary thing, because that's a whole other feeling. That's just whether it's you crash and burn, or whether or not you whether or not you crash and burn, or whether or not you succeed and soar, it doesn't actually matter. The feeling of like, I got out of my own way for 5 minutes. Holy dooly. And the powerful feeling that comes with that, and then if it's the added bonus of success and soar, then yeah, it's a whole nother thing. So, understanding these things, understanding where we're at, and knowing how to get through it, because sometimes that's the hard part. When it comes to live streaming, sometimes the way to get around these feelings is to go through, right? And so just getting into practice, like anything, it comes down to memory practice. So for me, if I was to record a video now, I'd be like, I'd probably use Ecamm to record the video, because I'm so used to using it for my live streaming, and it has the functionality to record rather than stream. And I could record it in 4K if I wanted, rather than 1080p, which I stream in 1080p just because most people watch in 1080p. And I do have the ability to stream in 4K, but I'm just sitting here chatting. There's no reason. If there was something I was doing that was highly detailed and you needed to see everything, I would consider 4K for sure. But this face thing, there's no need. And I need the extra pixels to blur my face, or the less pixels to blur my face. But yeah, so getting through and just utilizing, sometimes it's just using software that you're comfortable with. There's only so many hurdles. Like I'm not that person who can just run off a cliff and jump into the water and go for a swim. No, I've got to go down. I've got to check the water first. I've got to make sure it's deep enough. Then I've got to make sure that I can get out of the water at the end. So I've got to check all these other things, and then I will consider diving in. Unlikely, as I'm a little bit afraid of heights now, but the analogy still seems true. So just being able to just push through sometimes and get the thing done. Utilizing something that is comfortable is fine. So for me, utilizing Ecamm to record my videos is fine. I got no issues with that. It totally does a great job. No issues. And just being able to get it done is the thing. Being able to just do it. That's the thing. So if you're thinking about live streaming and you are so nervous about it, set yourself up like you're going to live stream. Make yourself a thumbnail, make yourself a title, and then live stream it to your channel on private. It gives you the full gambit of any technical issues that could happen. It lets you know any software limitations that you have, because you can watch it back on the replay. You've got all the ability, so put it on your channel as private. And the advantage to that is also that if there was something in there that you said that was really good, it's recorded. You can download it and you can clip it and make that into a video if you want. Or you can just leave it there as a practice piece and do nothing with it whatsoever. And then move that to go in from there. So I would say if you are nervous about live streaming, that's what you should do. If you're nervous about making videos, you should make videos. And whether or not you upload them is a whole nother thing. But make the videos, edit the videos, and then decide if you're going to upload it. Don't don't put yourself in a box of I can't do this. So for me here on this channel, I do regular live streams because that's the bandwidth that I have. I don't really have the bandwidth for extra editing right now, although I'm looking at options. And I know that growing this channel would only help any future endeavors I have, whether it be courses or books or whatever. Being able to grow this channel would help that as well, and lend more credibility. And I think I also lean back on that as like, oh, well, that's why I can't do it yet. And I need to stop doing that, because we all know that it doesn't matter. It just doesn't. But mentally it does. All right, let's have a look here. Leanne has a question. I have a question. Is it 4K that you can pinch to zoom, or is it all lives that offer that? I hope that's not a lame question. There's no lame questions, Leanne. So when you say pinch to zoom, do you mean on your phone? So you should be able to pinch to zoom all live streams or all videos. It's just whether or not the image is clear is going to depend on what they've streamed it in. So you should technically be able to pinch to zoom this live stream, right? If you're watching on your phone or your tablet or something with a touchscreen, you should be able to pinch to zoom. But it might just be blurry because it's you know, there's not as many pixels. So that's the advantage with the 4K, is if you want to pinch and zoom in and look at something that they're particularly doing, if they're filming it in 4K, the chances are when you pinch and zoom, that'll still be clear. So you should be able to do it like mechanically, but whether or not you should do it is another question. So yeah. Live stream consult said, I'm good with 720p. 4K is just some blings some creators flash around. Oh, Gamer Widows. Oh, man. Yeah, so look, I don't think 4K streaming, like, it was definitely a flex, right? It was definitely a flex for a long time. And I think it still is a bit of a flex, right? However, depending on the kind of content someone's creating, I think it could be useful. Like if I'm doing handcraft, yeah, I think you regret doing that. If I'm doing like a handcraft where there's some detail and people just want to see that, they can pinch and zoom in and just watch exactly that little piece there that you're just doing. They can so there's a whole big screen and they can just zoom into this little section. So, you know, you can just do that. Like it gives your audience the option. So if you're streaming in 4K, it means that when they do that, it'll be nice and clear. But if you're not, it may not be as clear. So it depends. I think it could still be clear enough. Depends on how much they're zooming in, I suppose. But yeah, I don't think it's the flex that it used to be. Like even 12 months ago, people who are like, I stream in 4K, and you're like, cool. Why? What content are you making that it needs to be in 4K? Because I'm watching some 1080p streams on my TV that still look top notch. Like they don't need to be 4K. Like why? It's just using up my data to download your stream and watch your stream. So cool, thanks for that. And that's the other thing. Just because you stream in 4K doesn't mean your audience is going to watch in 4K. So you can all hit your little you know cog and choose your stream size. So just because someone's streaming in 4K doesn't mean you have to watch in 4K. And I can tell you right now, there will be people out there who downgrade that stream because they do not have unlimited internet. Some people do, some people don't. I've got unlimited download, which I love, but it also, like, how fast can you download? Like, what if they've got like a bit of a dodgy internet connection and they really want to watch and they want to support you, but you're making it so hard because all your content's 4K. And they may or may not know that they can actually hit the cog and make it smaller for themselves. Yeah, I don't think it's the flex that it used to be, and I think that you need to educate your audience. Not every, like, you can't assume that knowledge. You just can't. The number of people that I talk to that don't know how to, didn't realize they could change the speed of a video. You know, it's just one of these things. Let me look. That works great for top-down camera shots for sure on the zooming in. Yeah. And this is the thing. It's going to be a use case thing. It's going to depend on what you're doing. For some people, it'll be awesome. For others, it's definite overkill. Or you live in Australia with our appalling internet. Yeah. I personally have decent internet speeds, but I also know most people don't. And I didn't for a really long time. So, Livestream Consultant says, I still watch Star Trek TOS and it looks just fine on a 43-inch 4K TV. Yeah. Look, I totally see it. That's the thing. Like, there's no actual reason that people should have to stream in 4K. I think 1080p is totally fine. 720 is fine as well, but I think if you can do 1080p, 1080p is just that step better. You know, it's just one of these things where you just want to make it as easy as possible for people. And I think 1080p is totally fine. And people are like, oh, if you want to future-proof your content, you should be doing it in 4K. Cool. If it doesn't slow down your process. So if your computer can only edit a 1080p video, then make it in 1080p or do proxy editing, you know, if you desperately want 4K. But if your computer can't handle 1080p, there's probably a decent chance your internet can't either. So, yeah. Leanne says there's a creator that announced he went live in 4K so the watcher could zoom in because he didn't want to edit the live later. Okay. I suppose it depends on the content. Yeah, it sounds like a weird flex, but okay. I don't really have an opinion. Like, I mean, I do have opinions, but it's always going to be like that it depends opinion. I feel like Shelley Nathan. Oh, I just got a warm feeling. Because it does. It totally depends on who your content is for and the kind of content that you're making. It always just depends on your audience. Everything about YouTube depends on your audience. Who is your audience? What have they got? What do they need? What are they looking for? And it always depends, you know? So I'm just drinking my coffee. Did you want to edit the live later? That just seems like a weird thing to say. See you later, Emma. Good luck. Keep making. Keep making. You can't sell the bags if the bags don't exist. I'm just going to say that. The Game Widows here makes beautiful project bags. And I do pick on her a little bit. Sorry, Game Widows. Which is hilarious because I can't sell a book if the book doesn't exist, and I can't sell a course if the course doesn't exist. And I totally see the irony, okay? I do. I totally see the irony. Amazing, your destination. It's great to see you. Great to see you. Even though I have Starlink during the evening times, I only get a max of about 6 megabits per second upload, which limits me to 720p. At other times of the day, I can easily do 1080p. Look, I'm going to say this, right? What you could do, because I had 2 megabits per second upload and was still uploading at 1080p, all right? You can use software called Handbrake, and you can compress it just a little. Like, Handbrake will let you compress it a lot. Don't do that. It looks awful. If you compress it just a little, it means that you can have that 1080p all the time, and even with your 6 megabits per second upload. And so, yeah, if you're live streaming, so I suppose this is the difference. You can't use Handbrake on a live stream, all right? It's for videos. And if you're live streaming and you've got 6 megabits per second upload, I just want to say this 1080p stream that's coming at you right now is 5 megabits per second that it's pushing out, according to Ecamm. So if you've got 6 megabits per second and you're using something like OBS, you can drop your bitrate down a little bit just to give you a little bit more buffer, or like not so much buffering, but space for any peaks, and go from there. But you know what you're doing, and you do things the way you need to do them to make your stuff work. You just have to make your decisions and do it. But my point being that if you really, really, really want to do 1080p, you can do it. But if you don't have the bandwidth or the energy to do it, then just 720p will be fine. It'll be fine. Get a slacker. I know. It's, yeah. Yeah, I know. I have to focus on one first. So that's the thing. I'll do one and then I'll start putting, and I think that doing one will help the other, if that makes any sense. Whereas if I'm trying to do both at the same time, I'll get a bit confused, at least initially, while I'm setting out formats and things like that. Then once I've got that down, the content will overlap for sure. And then that's the other thing, right? When I'm writing, do I write it in my voice like how I talk, which is a little loose on the grammar, let's be honest, Or do I make it fiercely proper? Like proper. I don't know. I don't know. There's probably a middle ground. There's probably a middle ground I could go with, but I don't know that either. I'm hydrating, Doug. Mm. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. The course will definitely the book will feed the course, and the course will feed the book. Like as I'm thinking of things, like and doing things. So, um, and putting things together and answering people's questions, I'll be like, oh, that needs to go in there. Blah 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 blah, things like that. So you know, um, then there's the question of, do I run the course as just a like say like I don't know which platform I'm going to go with yet, but say a Teachable, where it's just videos that are there that you can go through and then ask questions and then respond to questions, or do we have like live like a live question time kind of thing, like on a Zoom or something? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think that would actually be beneficial, but yeah. Ah, look, do you know what? You're right. I really should talk to Beck about the book. I've got a friend who's an editor, like a book editor. It's her job, and so I really should talk to Beck about that for sure. It's not really her genre, but she would definitely have ideas and be helpful. So, yeah, yeah, no doubt there. That's I should utilize the resources at my fingertips, shouldn't I? The amazing people around me who are so skilled in the things that they do, um, and and it probably be done by now, honestly. uh, anyway, moving on. So, let me know in the chat if you've got any questions about making content for your audience or working out who your audience are, how you work that out. That plays into a massive part. It goes into how you read your analytics. So I'll preempt that question, preempt that answer. You need to be going into your analytics and you need to be looking at what people are watching and what surface they're watching it on, and work out where your audience is. Because if you've got a predominantly short form audience, they're watching on their phones or on their tablets. Converting them over to like super long form for TV might be harder than you think, or it might be easier than you think. It will depend. I'll say this about writing: write it how you think it and say it. When you are done with a section or a chapter, put it into ChatGPT and ask it to rewrite it at a 5th grade reading and comprehension level. I always find that to be such a weird level to put things at, because like in my brain, fifth grade students aren't allowed to live stream. Yeah, they're not allowed to live stream. They're too young, and so. But I mean, I understand why. I do, but at the same time, it just there's this disconnect between why would I write it for someone so young to be able to understand it when they're not allowed to do it. Um, so but I do understand why. So, um, yeah, it's so that it can be more broadly understood, and also for people where English is not their first language and things like that. So I totally understand it. My written voice is very important to me. I hate the trend of having ChatGPT making everything super generic. I think so I use Gemini for some writing that I do regularly for some client work. And what I get it to actually do is I don't get it to change the tone or change the writing style. I get it to check the grammar and make sure that it's grammatically correct. And there's this difference between getting it to just redo everything for you or getting it to do some specific things. Like there are words that I use in my everyday conversation that if I put it through ChatGPT, it's going to remove, right? Which to me diminishes, it doesn't sound like me, right? It just doesn't sound like me. And it needs to sound like me to a degree. maybe a little less of me, but it needs to sound like me. And you can like, and this is where I've also been struggling with the whole using AI for things. Um, you can teach it to specifically work with you, right? You can specifically have it that way that it helps you to put things in your tone and how you do it. But how people read things and how people say things are different. So if you're writing a script and you've written out the script and you've written it how people read it, it may not flow as well when speaking, and vice versa. When you transcribe a conversation, it doesn't work as well written. There's like a that needs to have like they need to be adjusted for the different surfaces that they're coming up on. And so utilizing AI for that is, if you want, you can do that. You don't have to. There's no one saying you have to. I certainly want someone checking my spelling and my grammar. I'm awful with grammar. I really am. And so I definitely need, and like, like Grammarly's been around forever. And it's just some AI learning, and not AI learning, it's just some machine learning, it's not necessarily AI as such. And I think, I think we just have to make sure that our own tone and our own voice is still in there. And there are some very lazy people using AI where they're just like, here, AI, do this thing. Thank you, I'll have that. And they're not even checking it. And it doesn't sound like them. It may not even get their proper point across anymore because it was changed so much and they didn't check it. There are lawyers out there who are facing serious issues right now. They're being disbarred because they are using ChatGPT in their legal proceedings, and they are presenting it to court only to realize that the precedents in the cases that are being used as their reasoning don't exist because ChatGPT made them up. And so there are people that are being referred back to the bar, and they are potentially going to be put on what's the word I'm looking for, where they have to be monitored, but some of them are losing their bar licenses. So yeah, and it has something. It was the fifth grade. Yeah, the fifth grade thing is about how fast we can understand it. Absolutely. Livestream Consult says, I use ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude at the same time with the same prompt to compare the info, the tone, the terms, and the structure. I rewrite most of it and combine bits to get my point correctly. Yeah, it's one of these things. Doug's got it here. Human filter required. Absolutely, absolutely. And so it's definitely like there are people out there who can be absolutely just like into AI, crap back out again, right? And they're happy to post that. I'm not that person. If it doesn't sound like me, I don't want to put it out there. I don't even like writing like emails that don't sound like me. I feel really weird when I have to write a really formal email and you're just like, but that needs to be formal for this. So I do get it. I do understand. The joy of citing cases that never existed. Yes. Sanctions. Thank you, Doug. That was the word I was looking for. So yeah, recent personal experience. I got lost a bit there, Doug. I'm not quite sure what you're referring to. I'm sure the second you say it, I'll be like, oh, of course. Okay. But yes, I think it's very easy to use AI and be lazy with it. It's very easy. But if you want to be smart with it and you want to utilize it, you can train it, you can teach it. But no matter how much you prompt it, no matter how much you have to check it. Every single word, every single comma and full stop, you have to check it because it can, it's one of those things. Generative AI is honestly a bridge too far for me, but everyone's got to decide what's appropriate for them. I agree. I personally have avoided the generative AI. Like I've done some like quirky things, like added a Christmas hat. Technically generative AI. I added a Christmas hat for a thumbnail. but it was still just me. And one of the issues that I have, and it's the same issue I have with the people that always use filters when they're on Instagram and Snapchat. When I'm going live, I don't have filters, right? There's no, you know, beauty filters or anything like that. And while I have my own plenty of issues about my own personal appearance and looks and whatever, um, I don't want to be the person who has the, you know, AI'd to the max image on my thumbnail, and then for people to click in, and then the shocking truth is unveiled. Do you know what I mean? Like, to me, that's clickbaity, right? And I know that it's technically not clickbaity because it's still that person. It's just a version of that person. Um, and I'm seeing it being used for some awesome things, and I'm seeing it being used in some really fun and awesome ways. But I still probably won't use it for me, and I will suffer for it because audiences are expecting the more contrasty and bright and vibrant and all that sort of stuff, except I'll have to just learn how to edit my photos differently because I don't want the imagery of me to be changing into that more, and it nearly feels comic-y-ish on some of them. There's like the skin has been smoothed to the max. They've had makeup added. Their hairstyle is not quite them, you know. It's one of these things where I just feel that it's the step too far for me. And this is the thing. I'm not judging them because it's not the step too far for them, but it is the step too far for me. So we all have to individually decide what we are happy to use and what we are not happy to use. I'm happy to let AI help me tighten up an email that I'm struggling to word. I'm happy to let AI fix my grammar and help me reword things in a way that's more palatable and less polarizing. I have actually used that as a prompt. Hi, hi, ChatGPT. I made this thing, and drop in all my text. Can you please reword this so it is less polarizing but still gets my point across? And it does, and you're just like, oh, thanks for that. Now I probably will, you know, I will get a better result at the end of it. But you know, and it also is teaching me, oh, if I just worded it like this, okay, that's good. And I find that I'm learning from that and I'm actually able to word things better that way. So it's helping to educate me as well. I don't just drop it in there all the time. If I've done it before, I can check it out and try myself and slowly get better and better and better at learning how to word things. And I'm not a wordsmith. And so I'm not a person who's done a lot of writing and things like that, or not recently. I used to a long time ago, but I haven't done a lot of writing. It's all been emails or scripts. That's a bit, and it's short scripts and mostly bullet points. You know, so it's different strokes. The AIs are a tool. Tools break. There are different brands that work better than others. Use the correct tool for the correct job. Every tool is not a hammer with AI. I agree. I agree. And you have to decide what you want to do. Because look, John, I don't think AI is so boring. I can't get away from the people who can't talk about anything else fast enough. And one of the issues I have is when, like LinkedIn, prime example, okay? You go into LinkedIn, the sheer number of posts that are so obviously written by AI now. And it's just like, one of the things I loved about LinkedIn, and it's starting to go away, was the genuineness of people, like working people, of corporate people, of, you know, feeling that connection with someone because of how they talk, you know, and then now it's sort of all going because it's the same sort of posts that are always happening on there now, and I find that disappointing. And I think there's got to be a point where people realize they're losing their own voices because they just utilizing AI too hard, or they haven't, you know, they're not utilizing it as a tool. They're utilizing it to just write the thing. Hey, I want to write a post, blah, 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 blah. Thanks. Cool. Oh, excellent. Thank you. I want that to actually be 3 paragraphs, not 2. Oh, okay, cool. Cool. You know, like there's a limit. There's absolutely a limit. But I mean, I feel the same way. There's there's people that talk about particular softwares they're not AI. They're just a particular software, and they love that software so much, and all they ever talk about is that software. Abby gets sick of me talking about YouTube and spinning and knitting and all these different things. Every person has a limit on different topics. Do not do that, Chantelle. Be polarizing. It's you. Just not be abrasive. And I think maybe that's a language difference. And you're right. I don't want to be abrasive. I don't mind bringing stark attention to something. I just don't want to scare people away as well at the same time. Yeah. LinkedIn's just, and I've always loved LinkedIn. I'm like that weird person that just, I love reading LinkedIn posts and I love going through, and I specifically love that it wasn't like cat videos and recipes. And so it's just one of these things where, I'm noticing the change, and it's a little disappointing, to be honest. Leanne says, I've used AI for fun, playing 20 questions, also to ask for help with my speech for my son's wedding. I don't know how to add things I wanted to mention in a smooth or flowing manner. Look, I write a newsletter, and for one of my clients, and I go and do all the research for everything for the newsletter, and then I drop it in and go, please make this flow better. I literally use those words. Please make this easier to read and to flow better. This is supposed to be a quick, fast, enjoyable read, and right now it is not. And sometimes it's quite disjointed. Like you guys hear me talk, I jump, and the emails would look the same. The newsletters would look the same. So I get it to smooth over things a little bit, just to blend them together a bit better. So yeah, it's different people use things for different things. Yeah, YouTube recommends a video about any software with Adobe in the name. I just go, yeah, not for me. Yeah, that I do notice that, like when I'm looking at the YouTube inspiration thing on my Fiberific channel, it's like, hey, you need to make more dyeing videos. I'm like, no, I don't. I'm not making any more dyeing videos. I can't do that anymore. And it's like, I haven't made one for this many years. I wish I could tell it somehow. There will be no more dyeing videos. Please stop suggesting them and wasting these suggestion spaces with that, because it's not happening. It's just not happening. And so, yeah, it's definitely one of those things. But yeah, like I'm back on Adobe now because I had to be, and not because I wanted to be. And so I'm a little trepidatious about that entirely. The dyeing videos have died. Yeah, I had to kill off the dyeing videos before the dyeing killed me off. So that was like, that was the jam on that one. It was making me very sick, and they had to stop, which was such a shame, because A, I love doing it, and B, it was hand-dyed yarn was one of my biggest income streams. And I had to just choose between it and not breathing. So I chose the breathing. Yeah. But it was a big thing. It was a lot harder decision at the time. I make light of it now, but it was very confronting at the time. But yeah, and like constantly having YouTube put it back in your face, like, I would if I could, YouTube. Thanks for that. So it's one of those things. You flower child. Hey, dyeing yarn is fun. I can still do bits and pieces of it, but not at any kind of commercial level. So if I needed something, I would be able to do one single batch of something for myself. But I have a personality that would be like, well, if I can do it once, I can do it 20 times, right? So I just haven't. I've been slowly getting rid of all my dyeing gear because the risk is too great. Yeah. What's actually hilarious, John, like total side tangent here, like totally side. It was not any of the dyes or anything like that was the issue. It was the food grade citric acid that was what was affecting me. Like, I was just like, are you serious? Are you out of the dyes with the heavy metals and the like all this other stuff? This is the problem. So yeah. I remember doing a visual arts course once and watching a documentary about a guy who was spraying something indoors with no mask and no ventilator. Oh my gosh, that's just asking for trouble right there. That's just asking for trouble. So yeah, that's just dumb. That's just dumb. I actually dyed outside. Like I have a big patio and I did all my dyeing out there. So it was like full ventilation. When I was mixing the powder dyes, I had a big mask on. Once it was liquid, it was a lot better. But yeah, it was, you know. But it turns out that when you have chronic asthma and you breathe in steam filled with citric acid, and the citric acid is triggering bad asthmatic reactions. That's not what you can do. Oh yeah, that's true. Like out of context. Yeah, out of context. I actually died outside. Out of context. That's a fun one. There's a lot of spinning and knitting words that are out of context. You just like big eyebrow raise, like what? But yeah. Anyway, we're just blathering now. We're just going on a total like even worse than usual. Like it's like this is our usual tangent, and this is what we're currently doing. So yeah. Anyway, on that note, if there's no more questions, so I'll hang out a bit more while I drink some coffee. It's dark and overcast for you today. I missed the sun. I don't even know what weather we've got today. Is it overcast outside, Abby? I know we've been getting some rain. Craft supplies are not anywhere near as dangerous compared to playing with methylene chloride, powder chlorine, and chlorine gas, and a bunch of other solvents. Possibly not, but possibly at the same time. There's a lot of people who think craft supplies are totally just fine. They are not. Like you look at the ingredients of dye, and we're looking at some pretty heavy metals and toxic bits and bobs, and there's different dyes that you can't mix together because they create bad gas. So like I don't know exactly the science behind it, but you don't want to breathe that in. So yeah, I think there's a lot of people that think craft supplies equals fun and safe, and it's not necessarily the case. Depends on the craft. Doug says it was sunny a little earlier, but it's a little cloudy now. Yeah, definitely we're having some interesting weather right now. It's been a lot of showers, but then we'll have some beautiful blue sky, and then it'll shower again. And every time I open the front window, it rains, and the rain comes in the front window. Oh my gosh, really? Yeah. You know, I was one of the things I always found really interesting is people talk about, oh, natural dyeing is so much safer, and I'm like, really? Do you know what else is natural? Arsenic. Arsenic is naturally occurring. So natural doesn't mean non-lethal. It's just natural. So yeah. But on that note, I'm gonna call it a day. That's an interesting place to end this stream. But that's what we're gonna do. I hope you all have an amazing week. If you're gonna live stream, enjoy it. If you're gonna make content your audience want, and you'll see a change. You'll see a change. All right. I will catch you all next time. Bye now.